What's up, y'all? Lost in Seattle here. And we finally got around to watching the Judas and the Black Messiah movie. Um we're gonna start with just the movie itself. What did you think of the movie just as it is a movie? What do you think?
Um, I think it was okay. Um, it wasn't the best movie that came out this year.
So when we talk about that, we mean when I say we think of the movie, I mean the characters themselves, particularly Fred Hampton. Do you feel like after watching the movie, you know more about him?
Yes, I do.
Okay. His character, his character's development, I don't think they went far into his upbringing. They didn't at all speak about it much, actually.
No, they didn't even speak about his parents.
So the movie doesn't go that far. The movie is really about the informant,
Pretty much.
Mr. William O'Neill. The movie is really from his perspective. They get a little bit of Fred Hampton just to kind of let you know what's going on with what was going on at the time. But for the most part, the movie is from the
Per-
informant William O'Neill's
Perspective.
perspective and why he did what he did and how he was moving and stuff. What do you think of the acting of the characters?
I thought Lakeith Stanfield acting was good.
He,
He actually kind of looks like
he
William
definitely looks
O'Neill.
like William O'Neill.
And if you go on YouTube and you look at the Eye is on the Prize video with William O'Neill, you can definitely tell that he studied his mannerisms.
Definitely, he's very fidgety,
Yeah,
very timid.
yeah.
He definitely did a great job of selling the type of person he was.
Yep.
What do you think of Fred Hampton's character, Daniel? How well did he portray Fred Hampton? Do you believe,
Okay, so
just from an acting standpoint?
I think his acting wasn't terrible. I
Okay,
think he did
Well,
a good job.
was it realistic enough? I think he sold the character enough. I think there are times when he was speaking, and I feel like it was a little. I don't know. It kind of took you out of it.
Well, the problem is we know that Daniel Kaluuya is not
That's how you say
Kalu.
his name.
I don't know Kalu, whatever his name is. You know that he's not Black American, and you've heard him speak in his original accent. And the problem is when you hear these foreign blacks speak American dialects, it kind of takes you back for a minute because you go, "That's not how you talk." So it's almost like they're mimicking, even though
So
they are acting.
yeah, shouldn't that be a thing it's considered a good thing how they're able to change their voice so much to sound like a
But
South
sometimes it's
Chicago dude?
overdoing it.
But yeah,
It's
obviously,
overkill.
yeah, obviously they're gonna do it. It's not their natural, not naturally the way they speak.
It's
But
like when they do it, it's like they're exaggerating it almost.
yeah, sometimes you can definitely hear it. But I think he did decently. I think he did okay. Um,
And it's not because he's not Black American.
I think he did a good job. I think he was okay. The fact that he was the main character, but he wasn't the entire focal point made it not kind of he wasn't forced to be this character as much as I thought he would have to be. I thought Lakeith did a good job. I think the girl who played his girlfriend in the movie, I think she did a good job
She did. She did a better job than she did that movie with Jamie
with
Foxx
Jamie Foxx when she was playing the
on
rapper.
Netflix.
Yeah. I think let's see. Overall, I think the acting was really well done. The accents, for the most part, were really good. What do you think about the ambience, the cinematography of the movie, the, the look of the movie? What do you
It
think about it?
definitely feels like it was in a
Like the
60s,
60s?
70s area.
Yeah. I
So
think
they did good with that.
yeah, I think it did a really good job with the colors. And what do you think of the soundtrack?
I haven't heard the soundtrack.
The music that was playing in the background of the movie. That's the soundtrack. What do you think about the sound, like the horns? Remember the horns that would play
Oh yeah, they did a good job with
when
that.
he would feel pressure or
Yeah,
anxiety?
they did a good job with that.
So I think the movie itself, I had to give it out of 5. I think I would give it a 3 to a 4, 3.5 probably, 3.7, something like that.
I give it a 3.
So I think the movie was a good movie. If you want to watch the movie about,
I don't. I think you want to watch the movie just to uh know what Fred Hampton's, what his.
yeah, there goes our second point, the
Yeah.
political side of it. Okay, so if you've read books and study Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers, you probably already know some of this stuff. But if you didn't,
I didn't.
if you watch this movie, it lets you know that the Black Panther Party, or should I say in particular, Fred Hampton's beliefs were not really grounded in black politics. His politics were grounded in class politics.
Sort of like Bernie Sanders.
Just like Bernie Sanders. As a matter of fact, as you can see in this picture, he went and worked with the Young Lords, which was a Puerto Rican civil rights group.
You could pretty much call his perception of the Black Party is they were progressives.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you have the Young Patriots, the white people. They were the poor, working class white people.
So it's like every movement that Black people have, we have to graft in every lower class, everybody that we feel is at the bottom with us, but us not knowing we're still
at the bottom. So you have Black people that are at the very bottom, but people that are just above them, they want to help them get higher, and it still keeps you at the bottom.
Because the thing that you have to realize, if you leave the bottom, somebody else has to go to the bottom.
Yeah. Now, when we go into the politics, when you look at William O'Neill's character, he was a man in the movie, at least how they portrayed him. He was a man who he didn't believe in anything. When they asked him, what did he feel when Martin Luther King died? He said, I was kind of, I was kind of mad, not really. When they asked about Malcolm X, he said, I don't pay attention to that stuff. So his character, or the person he's representing, he doesn't believe in anything really. He got caught up, still in a car, about to serve time. They offered him a chance to work it off, and he became an informant for the FBI to infiltrate the Black Panther Party. But when you look at the movie, the Black Panthers are a openly socialist group that are about overthrowing the government, and they're a class politics. That their politics is about class, not race. As a matter of fact, in the movie, Fred Hampton's character chastises other Black people who bring up race when they confront white people. So that's something. I'll be honest.
He was not for just Black people. He was for all oppressed people.
Yeah. So, but William's character didn't believe in anything, and Fred Hampton had a real belief, a very passionate belief in something. So you see how a guy was able to completely betray all these people because he didn't believe in anything.
Yeah.
In the movie, he says how, most people have idols like Muhammad Ali, a couple other Black people. He said my idol or my mentor was a white FBI agent.
And you really can't frame William O'Neill's, you really can't frame him as portraying Black people, because it just wasn't Black people in this movement. It was other races of people in this movement.
Yeah.
You could say he portrayed a
Black
man, specifically
Fred
Hampton, because that's who they were really after from the get-go.
Yeah, and the Rainbow Coalition, as they call it, where you had the young...
No, Hope Rainbow Coalition.
You have the Black Panthers, which is the Black people. You had the Crowns, which represent a real, actual activist group. I can't think of the name right now, but they represent an actual group in real life. For some reason, they decided to change the name. You had the Young Lords, which were Puerto Ricans. You had the Young Patriots, which were white people. So then this is in Chicago, one of the most segregated cities in the country.
And so he was able to unite
them. That's why
which was scary.
Yeah. So during that time, you had this thing, the communists, the U.S. government were trying to crack down on communism from Soviet Russia. So they felt like the Panthers were a communist group who were using their politics to unite the lower class to help overthrow the government.
So they considered them terrorism.
Yeah, they were terrorists. This is why he called them terrorists.
And you have to say, somebody who is not able to only bring Black people together, but bring all these different people together, that is something powerful.
Yeah, very charismatic man, a young man. He was only 21 when he was killed.
Even though I don't think Daniel, I don't think he was charismatic per se in the movie.
I will say, when he did his speeches in the movies, I think they focused so much on the accent that the mannerisms didn't always sell it as much as it could have.
Because if you go back and look at Friend Hampton's old videos or clips, he was very
Yeah,
charismatic.
and it's like once again you have a situation where a guy who's speaking in his natural accent and a guy who's portraying it. So obviously, there's always going to be a slight disconnect. But once again, I think he did okay. But I want to show. This is the FBI agent in the movie who he was working with, and there was this weird scene in the movie where J. Edgar Hoover asked him what would he do if his daughter brought home a black man, and
Specifically,
specifically he didn't
not a
want
man of color.
a black man, and he didn't want to answer the question at first. He's one of, to me, he actually represents, to me, he represents the liberal. He said in the movie, "I'm for civil rights, but you can't cheat your way up.
What does that
You
mean
can't
when you
shoot
say
your
you
way
can't
to
cheat
freedom."
when he uses the word when he uses the phrase "you can't cheat your way up"? What does that mean to you? How do
Uh,
you cheat your way up to having having civil rights? How is that a cheat your way up?
so,
How do you go about earning it?
uh,
Wait patiently.
but his character to me represents the liberal. He was kind to William. Obviously, he knew he had him by the balls. Obviously, he didn't want to go to prison, but he didn't make. He tried his hardest not to make William feel guilty for what he was doing. He made him think that the KKK in the movie. He says
Yeah.
that the KKK are literally the same thing as the Black Panther Party. They both are trying to push hate, division, and terrorism.
Yeah. He kept instilling that in him so that his conscience
Could
would
be
be more
clear.
eased.
Yeah,
But you would also have to say, um, you being in the Black Panther, seeing this man bring all these different people together would show that he's nothing like the KKK, because the KKK ain't reaching out to
they ain't
uh
reaching out to niggas. They ain't reaching out to Puerto
oppressed people.
Ricans,
Their sole purpose is to preserve them.
and that's fine, by the way.
Yep, that's fine.
But yeah, his character. Once again, you have to keep in mind his character didn't believe in anything. He was a petty thief who stole cars. You know, he didn't believe in anything, so it was easy to convince him to destroy something that he didn't believe in.
But somewhere down in the towards the end of the movie, I think he did
Yeah,
begin to understand.
we're gonna watch this a clip from the interview he did right here.
At this point, I question the whole purpose of the Black Panther Party. In my thinking, they were necessary.
Once again, Lakeith standing. Lakeith looked just like this dude.
It was a shock treatment for white America to see black men running around with guns, just like black men had saw white men running around with guns. Yeah, that was a shock treatment. It was good in that extent, but it got a lot of black people hurt. My recruitment by the FBI was very efficient, very simple, really. I'd stolen a car and went joyriding over the state limit, and they had a potential case against me, and I was looking for.
I didn't hear it in the movie. Well, how old was he when he stole the car and went joyriding?
I don't think they said
I
it in
mean,
the movie.
if he was only 21, I mean, I would imagine his character had to be no more than in his early 20s as well, right?
Yeah.
So this is a early 20-year-old that made very life-changing decisions, really decisions that changed the entire country, maybe even the planet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For an opportunity to work it off. And a couple of months later, that opportunity came when FBI agent Roy Mitchell asked me to go down to the local office of the Black Panther Party and try to gain membership. We tried to develop negative information to discredit him, just like we did everybody else. We, meaning the FBI.
Now keep in mind, he refers to himself as we when he talks about the FBI right there.
I tried to come up with signs of him doing drugs or something, and never could. He was clean. He was dedicated. I've had private conversations with him. We got along pretty well.
2 weeks later, a gun battle on Chicago's South Side further escalated tensions. A former Panther and 2 policemen were killed. The deaths provoked a response from informant William O'Neill's FBI contact.
Mitchell became more specific during that time. He wanted to know the locations of weapons caches. He wanted to know if we had explosives. Um, he needed to know who was staying at what locations, who spent the night where. Um, his information didn't change so much as he requested more detail, and I knew why. The shootout on the South Side had pretty much laid the foundation within the party, within the Black Panthers. We knew that the police would react some type of way.
Expecting police action, the Black Panthers had fortified their office. FBI informant O'Neill was now head of Panther security in Chicago.
And I remember walking out of the office and looking through a little clearing over on the next block, which was right in front of the Monroe Street address, and seeing a lot of police cars over there. And at that time, Bobby Rush came to the office. He had just come from over there, or maybe the coroner's office. In any case, we walked back over there, and we both were speechless. We just walked through the house and saw what had taken place and where he died, and it was shocking. And then I was, I just began to realize that the information that I had supplied leading up to that moment had facilitated that raid. I knew that indirectly I had contributed, and I felt it, and I felt bad about it. And then I got mad. I had... and then I had to conceal those feelings, which made it worse. I couldn't say anything. I just had to continue to play the role.
FBI headquarters authorized payment of a $300 bonus to informant William O'Neill for, quote, uniquely valuable services which he rendered over the past several months.
So as you can see here, he referred to himself as we when talking about the FBI, and as we when speaking about the Panthers. So he was a confused guy. Dual loyalty. He did start to begin to obviously have some sort of belief in something, but by that time he was in too deep. He went on to work with them up until the early 70s. So yeah, he worked with them for a long time. And then this documentary here came out called Eye on the Prize 2.
Part 2.
Yeah, and it aired on Martin Luther King Day in 1990.
What a coincidence.
And of course, unfortunately for him, obviously the guilt and shame came over him. He committed suicide after that. But funny enough, in this interview, he went on to say that when the guy asked him what would he tell his son about what he did, and he said, "I'll let history speak for itself. I joined the fight. I fought for something I believe in and all this stuff." And I think he really didn't have anything he believed in until he met Fred Hampton. But by that time, he'd already become loyal to something else. So it's unfortunate, but that's what happened back then. And the COINTELPRO came out long. We found out about COINTELPRO and how they purposely did this to destroy the Black Messiah and such. But the movie, to me, it did a good job of telling the real politics of Fred Hampton and his chapter, at least. And I think the actors were really good. Cinematography was pretty good. Overall, I would give the movie a 3.7 out of 5.
Yep, I give it a 3.
Did you think you would hate it, or you think it lived up to what you thought it would be?
It lived up to what I thought it would be.
I think it would be very hard to have made this a bad movie. I think they would have had to do some really stupid stuff.
Yeah,
to make this.
It's
movie
not something
bad.
that you would watch over and over again.
Yeah, I don't think I'm being honest. I don't think I ever watch it again. But to watch it one time, you learn something you maybe didn't know. As far as, like I said, the politics they believed in, the classism versus the race. But yeah, I think the movie was okay. And that's our review of the movie. So peace.